The guiding light of the Treasury function in the denomination is something called the SDA accounting manual. I'm showing on the screen here the latest version, the 2011 edition. It right now is the standard that we are all trying to follow. And in it, it has the sort of the sample financial statements that will serve as our standard for looking at the statements. And I'm going to look at this version. The one you use may be a little bit different. And we are going to spend the rest of this little series of videos in this sample financial statement and try to help you get a little bit of sense out of them. Now, the first page you see is the title of the organization. Okay, the Union Conference of Seventh-day Adventist, and we have the financial statements, and they're usually dated on at the end of your accounting year. Okay, now let's take a little bit of an overview of what these statements look like. So this is the helicopter view of all the statements. Okay, we start off and we have what is referred to as a statement of financial position. The statement of financial position is as of the last day of your accounting year. So this is the numbers as of that date. It's a snapshot of your financial position. Okay, we'll come back to that in a second. That's the main topic. The next one is a combined statement of financial activities. Okay, the combined statement of financial activities. Notice it covers the entire year or your year to date. It covers a period of time. So the balance sheet covered the a point in time, the last day of the year. Where do we stand this moment? And this statement of financial activity gives you a picture of what happened during the year. How did things change? And we'll go over that. We'll have a little video on that. Then we have a combined statement of net assets, which we'll have to dig into. And this one is for the year that has just ended. And it explains what's happening to your net assets. And that's why you're listening to this course, to discover what net assets are and what this net statement helps us do. Okay, and we'll look at that. And then the one for last year it's exactly the same. So this third report that you see here, the combined statement of changes in net assets at the end of that year, is the same as this one, but it's just for the previous year. Okay, all right, for the previous year. So they're exactly the same information purpose, okay, but for two different years. Then a very important statement is the cash flow statement. We'll spend a lot of time with that. It's very interesting and growing in more importance. And I hope that you learn to love the cash flow statement, even though right now you probably just skip right over it. Here's the cash flow statement. It talks about your receipts and spending of cash, what's going on with that, what's happening to your cash. And then we get to the notes section of the financial statements, and we need plenty of time to talk about the different notes. Note number one always describes exactly the organization being reported on. And note number two talks about significant accounting policies. And then there's this continued list of standard notes that we have to have for our organizations, and we're going to go through those. So that's sort of the overview. Our purpose today is to get a orientation to this statement of financial position. The statement of financial position is called the balance sheet, and it used to be called the balance sheet. And the reason it was called the balance sheet is that balanced. And let's just take a peek at that. We have the assets at the top. Okay, the assets are the things the organization owns, and then what are the claims against those assets? What are the, claims against those assets? They're at the bottom, okay? The claims against those assets, they're at the bottom, okay? The claims against those assets, they're at the bottom, okay? The claims against those assets, they're at the bottom, okay? The claims against those assets, they're at the bottom, okay? The claims against those assets, they're at the bottom, okay? The claims against those assets, they're at the bottom, okay? The claims against those assets, they're at the bottom, okay? The claims against those assets, they're at the bottom, okay? The claims against those assets, they're at the bottom, okay? The claims against those assets, they're at the bottom, okay? The claims against those assets, they're at the bottom, okay? The claims against those assets, they're at the bottom, okay? The claims against those assets, they're at the bottom, okay? The claims against those assets, they're at the bottom, okay? The claims against those assets, they're at the bottom, okay? The claims against those assets, they liability and net assets. So we have the assets totaling 25,477,123. Okay, so total assets of 25,477,123, and the claims against them 25,477,123. It is a little bit logical that they should be the same. You know, what are the things the company owns or nonprofit owns, and what are the claims against them? And it balances for sure in another conceptual way is that we have the organization, the things the organization owns, and you have the claims of the creditors called liabilities. Well, anything that the creditors don't claim, the organization claims as its own, so to speak. Okay, and so we have a sort of a residual definition of net assets. Net assets being your total assets minus your total liabilities give you your net assets. That's why it has that name. Net assets is an unfortunate name, as we'll see in that video. And so we have uh, assets at the top, the claims against the assets, the liabilities, what we owe creditors, and then the residual, whatever's left over after the creditors, are called net assets. And they come in proper Adventist financial statements or using fund accounting. We'll have a whole video on explaining that. But we separate operating activities over in one column, plant fund activities in another. We'll explain why later. And then the total gives you the total for the entire organization. Okay, that I believe gets us started. Our next video will be about assets and both current assets and non-current assets.